Hello and welcome to ThePrint. We have often heard doctors and nutritionists tell us, you are what you eat. They've been emphasizing on eating healthy and following a clean diet for long. Now, in the time of social media, we are also bombarded with health tips, healthy recipes and lifestyle habits to a point where one doesn't know what to follow and what not to. Now, the Satvic Revolution is the answer to all your questions and confusion. Today, we have the authors of the book, Subah and Harshvardhan Saraf with us. Subah and Harshvardhan, welcome to ThePrint.
Thank you.
So before we dive into the contents of this book, the message you have tried to communicate, could you first explain our audience what exactly is the Satvic Revolution?
So the word Satvic comes from our ancient texts, and there are 3 modes described in our ancient texts: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So Sattva is the mode of goodness, Rajas is the mode of passion, and Tamas is the mode of ignorance. And it is said that all of us have all 3 gunas within us. So passion, Sattva is the mode of goodness, which is described through qualities of love, compassion, self-control, peace. What else?
Yeah, just that feeling of genuine love for, the universal brotherhood. That's how we would say it would be, the genuine feeling of oneness with each other. That's Sattva, the Sattva within us.
Okay.
So when we have Sattva dominant inside us, we have all these qualities emanating through us. Then Rajas, which is the second mode, is the mode of passion. So when you feel very angry, when you feel over-ambitious, when you feel stressed out, when you feel restless, those are times when you are dominated by the second guna, which is Rajas. And the third is Tamas, which is the mode of ignorance, which is defined by laziness, inertia. You don't feel like doing anything at all. You feel like just sleeping, and you feel extremely lazy. So all 3 of us have all 3 gunas. Sattva is the mode of goodness, and the Satvic Revolution is basically when we bring a revolution first within us to live a life more in this guna of Sattva. And when we do that, we automatically bring a revolution outside of us and help the world also transition to a Satvic world. So that's the Satvic Revolution. It begins from the inside, but its effect transcends
The
far
ripple
outside.
effect. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's like a pun on the word revolution, because typically one thinks you have to take arms and go and revolt.
Yeah.
But this is more of an inner revolution, which
Right.
shifts something within.
Yeah.
And if it happens in enough number of people, it creates an outer revolution in the world.
Right. So any revolution, any movement, it is built on a very strong foundation. So what are the foundation pillars of your Satvic Revolution?
The 7 habits that we talk about in the book are synonymous to the foundational pillars of the revolution. We can quickly describe each of them. First is inner cleanliness. That's the first pillar, which is inner cleanliness of the body, because most diseases, most mental health problems that we suffer from today happen because the body is not clean from inside. The body has accumulated waste, also known as toxins, present inside. So the first pillar is internal cleanliness. When we cleanse the body from the inside, automatically the mind is also cleared of these toxins, and that sort of sets the foundation for everything else. The second pillar,
The most controversial, the most spoken about, the most discussed habit, food, what we feed our bodies, what we put in our mouths. So we like to break it down into 3 simple components: food that is plant-based, food that is living, and food that is wholesome. We can of course define these, but this would constitute the second habit, where we eat food that nourishes us, that increases the sattva within us.
Right.
So that's the second habit.
the third foundational pillar of the revolution is to do with rest and sleep, that aspect of our lives. today India has become one of the most sleep deprived nations in the world. And unless we learn to sleep deeply, not be in a state of light sleep, but in a state of deep sleep, we cannot really achieve much in our day and thus in our lives. Because how deeply we sleep at night determines how much we can achieve in the day. So the third pillar of this revolution is based on our sleep cycle and also our waking up cycle. Today, as a society, we are not following our circadian rhythms or our natural patterns of sleeping and waking. So when we live in alignment with the natural rhythms of nature, when we sleep when we are meant to sleep, when it's dark at night, and we wake up with the first ray of the sunlight, that's the third foundation. Of course, we can go way deeper into each one of them, but this is just to...
But I think, you have gone deeper on each aspect in the book. Right.
The fourth one, you want us to complete also?
Yeah, definitely.
The fourth one is to do with the requirement of our bodies to move. I think we take inspiration from nature, and we see the clouds, the trees, the sun, the moon, the breeze, the animals, everything in nature moves. But you could call it due to modern conveniences. As a society, as a generation, we are becoming more and more sedentary. And we're so used to sitting the whole day that the bodies are almost accumulating rust in some sense.
Right.
And the fourth pillar of this revolution is about how we can keep our bodies fit, keep our bodies moving, and while getting all the work done, while remaining social, not compromising anywhere else in life, but yet not missing out on this essential component of movement.
Right.
That's the fourth.
The fifth pillar is more subtle in nature. So the first four pillars focus predominantly on our physical health.
Right.
But ultimately, we are not just this physical body. So the fifth pillar focuses more on our emotional health, focuses on our relationships. So the fifth pillar is all about nourishing our relationships. And in the book, in our practices, we discuss different ways through which we firstly sort of take away from our relationships and how we can stop ourselves from doing that. And second, how can we add more? How can we nourish all our relationships in our lives, whether it's with our parents, our brothers, sisters, our children, people we work with, everyone. Because how our relationships are with others directly affects how joyful we are as people, which directly affects how emotionally healthy we are.
Right.
The sixth pillar of this revolution, I feel, is most important for our country. It's about choosing our purpose in life. And believe it or not, most of our waking day, we spend at work.
Right.
And if that's not something that is deeply aligned with who we are and deeply aligned with what we are good at or what we're interested in, there'll always be a friction. There'll always be a sense of a disturbance within. There's a conflict.
Right.
And that will slowly but steadily take away from that genuine health or genuine joy that we feel towards life.
Right.
So through the book, in this particular pillar, the sixth pillar, we share certain activities, certain reflective exercises through which a reader can identify as to what genre or what profession could be better suited for them, and how they can use that purpose, that profession, to take it one step further and even serve a higher purpose than just earning money from it.
Right.
Which gives deep fulfillment and truly makes us feel like we're here for a purpose in this world, rather than just eating, making money, making merry, and then moving on.
So the sixth pillar basically focuses on our intellectual health, which is an integral part of our being. And the last pillar focuses on our spiritual health. And the pillar is basically about living in the mode of surrender. So often in our lives, we get stressed out very easily. We get depressed. Everyone says that I'm depressed these days, or I'm, something is sapping our energy. We're not happy, joyful as people. So the seventh pillar is to living in the mode of surrender, is to remind us that everything in our lives is being governed by a higher plan, which we also call a divine plan. And when we are able to see the larger plan of whatever faith we believe in, the larger plan or the hand of God in every situation in our lives, we are not, even in the most turbulent situations in our life, we are able to maintain our calm. We are able to maintain our calm amidst the chaos.
Right.
So it is to help us nourish ourselves spiritually.
Right. So, throughout the book, you have extensively written about what you call healthy living, right? But for a common man, in today's time when we have social media, there's so much information being thrown on us. For a common man, there are certain notions linked to healthy lifestyle, right? And the first and foremost being, it is expensive. What do you guys have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely there are certain components which will require more resources than others. But in the book, we share so many things which are free of cost. As in, you really don't, in fact, you will be saving money by following some of the habits.
No, but healthy food, let's say, healthy food, there is this thing that, healthy food is expensive. So, what do you think about that?
So often we get asked this question a lot, even by the Satvic community. And what we ask them to think about is that when you switch to a healthier lifestyle, you're only thinking of things that you have to add to your diet. You're not considering all those things that will get removed from your life when you follow a healthy lifestyle. For example, when we think of healthy eating, we think, oh, I have to buy more fruits, I have to buy more whole grains, I have to buy more vegetables. These are much more costly than my regular junk food, or they are much more costly than my roti, dal, chawal, which the grains are cheap. But fruits and, things like these, seeds, nuts are not cheap, which is very true. So if you just see it from that angle, that what am I adding into my day or my life? Yes, definitely, your costs, the overall budget you're allocating to food in a month will increase.
Yes.
But what we don't consider is when we actually, not just superficially, but when we actually live a lifestyle like this, a lot of the chronic health problems that we have in our bodies start to go away without medicines. That's what we have witnessed in our lives. Thousands of people following the Satvic lifestyle have been able to completely get rid of their thyroid problems, their PCOD, their high blood pressure, their diabetes type 2, a lot of such chronic diseases. And when those diseases go, so much of the spend that we do to treat those diseases automatically goes. So then people don't have to spend so much on their medicines, on their tablets, on their doctor visits, on their x-rays, on their MRIs, their scans. So how we ask you to approach it as is, question yourself. Do you want to pay the farmer now, or do you want to pay the pharma later?
Right.
So if you choose to pay the farmer now, you won't have to pay the pharma later. And if you choose to, do the opposite, wherein you're paying the pharma now, you will always be stuck in that trap, and the cost will keep increasing.
Yeah. So in the book, you also shared a little story about how these dairy producing companies and slaughterhouses, they sort of work hand in hand, and in that aspect you elaborated on the consumption of non-veg. Now veg and non-veg has been like a long-standing debate, not just in the country but across the world, and people who eat non-veg, the biggest the argument they give that over 80% people across the world, they are eating non-veg. If it is so unhealthy, if it is so wrong, then so you mean to say that the 80% of the world is wrong? So what is your standing? Like, why do you say that eating non-veg is not good for your health?
So I think first of all, just because something is being done by many people doesn't make it right or wrong.
Right.
It should be judged on its own merit. And I think this is, in the book, we take this stance that who are we to come and tell you that this is right or wrong? We pose some very simple questions, and we invite the reader to make that decision for themselves through those questions. And I think that our generation, our society is quite smart, and they are quite, they want to be allowed to make that decision themselves. So I think yes, we in the lifestyle that we share, we do very clearly promote and suggest a plant-based lifestyle, which means not consuming anything that comes from an animal and consuming things that are grown through the soil.
But do you think in today's time, even a plant-based diet, I mean, there's so much use of pesticide. Do you think even that is healthy?
I think there are levels. We can go from what's practical to what's super ideal. The super ideal would be you grow your own produce and you eat only that. But let's be honest, most of us can't do that.
Yeah.
So if we just look at the spectrum, then okay, we can even refer to our own health issues. When we were reversing our health conditions, we didn't have access to organic food. We were eating food that had pesticides and all the things that are put in it. But still, it was far better than the junk food that we were getting. It was far better at cleaning our bodies than something that comes from a factory. So, like I said, there's a spectrum, and on that spectrum, even food that is sprayed, even though it's not ideal, is still better than, it's still food versus something that is completely manufactured in a laboratory or synthesized in the chemistry lab.
Now, a lot of doctors and nutritionists, when they are making diet charts, or even dietitians, when they're making diet charts or suggesting some meals to their patients, they often tend to include, as per the requirement of the patient, they tend to include fish or a specific quantity of red meat or chicken. So is it, when you make such statements, it's like you are questioning them, because being doctors, being medical experts, they are recommending something like that. So how has anybody ever questioned you or asked you this question that but doctors are saying that I can eat, but you are saying I cannot? So how do you tackle such questions?
I will allow Subha to answer that question, but before that I want to say, so many people who meet us, come to our different workshops, they tell us that they were able to reverse their diseases. And when they go back to their doctors ask them, please tell us what you did. Because as per us, there is no way you could have ever walked again, you could have ever danced again, you could have ever been breathing comfortably without a surgery. So the doctors themselves are like asking the people in our community, you need to teach us what you've been doing, because we need to tell others, because as per them, this is not possible. Right. But we are seeing this lifestyle do those miracles. And these are people who we have no idea who they are. They just walk up to us in one of our workshops and tell us, few days ago I couldn't do this, but today I'm able to do this because of this lifestyle. So the point I'm trying to make is we respect our medical fraternity, we respect the work that they do, but with that respect, there are limitations of the medical world. Right. And just because they're suggesting a non-veg diet to someone doesn't make it that that's the only way to get those macro and micronutrients. There are other food alternatives which don't come along with certain negative aspects, but also have all the necessary amino acids, nutrients, all of what our body needs is fully being fulfilled within the plant-based way of. And I think you can add to...
I want to ask you, can you guess what percentage of a doctor's education is actually focused on nutrition?
In 7 years of their study.
What percentage do they learn about nutrition versus about treating diseases?
I have no idea.
Take a wild guess.
20, 30, 40? I mean, that should be the ideal case. At least
Only
40.
3% of their entire education.
Is it 3% or even lesser?
No, it's 3%. 3% of their entire education is focused on nutrition. The remaining 97% of their education is actually all focused on how do we manage diseases, not reverse diseases, manage diseases.
Right.
So if you have a chronic health problem and you go to a doctor, the doctor will never teach you how do you reverse that disease. They will only teach you how can you manage that disease such that it causes as little suffering as it can in your life, in your day-to-day life. But they don't teach you how you can fully reverse and eliminate that disease.
Right.
What we are teaching at Satvic Movement is not how to manage a disease. And if someone wants to manage a disease, Satvic lifestyle is not for them. Satvic Movement is not for them. It's only for those who are looking to reverse it. And reversal takes a lot more. Reversal takes a lot more modification to your diet and lifestyle. So the doctors who we are often going to for health advice, actually it's not their fault, because their education has mainly been in medicine, in pharmaceuticals, in
Right.
drugs, not in food, not in lifestyle, not in preventive healthcare, but in simply how do I prescribe pills such that this disease is just
Or
not
the numbers are in
aggravating.
order, manage the symptoms and the blood pressure and the blood sugar and things like
Right.
that.
In your book, throughout, you have mentioned a lot about Vedic scriptures, like, that things, natural curing methods that were used 200 years ago are still relevant, right? So, how did you come to that conclusion? Did you do some research? You had some proof, or what?
A lot of the food philosophy that we shared comes from 3 verses from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17 of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 8, 9, and 10, in which 3 types of foods are described: Satvic food, Rajasic food, and Tamasic food. And for each of these categories, the very clear characteristics of Satvic food are described, very clear characteristics of Rajasic food are described, and very clear characteristics of Tamasic food is described. Along with it, their effects on the body and mind are also described. So if someone reads these 3 verses and goes really in depth, they can understand a lot about what our Vedic scriptures used to say about our food. And apart from that, there are many other healing sciences like the Ashtanga Hridayam. There are many ancient nature cure texts which teach us about natural healing modalities that are as relevant today as they were 2000 years back.
Okay. Now, you have written about, a lot about the lifestyle, that things like you should not eat after 7 o'clock, and, you should not use phone or any electronic device at least 1 hour before going after sleep. Do you think, these things are good to hear, but do you think with today's lifestyle, with the kind of jobs we have this on-the-go lifestyle, do you think it is practically possible to implement these things?
I can use my own example to answer that question. For the first 15 years of my life, I was suffering from sinusitis. And I had been to every doctor, and they would give me steroids, they would give me sprays, they would give me creams, different treatments. They would give me antibiotics, but nothing would heal me. What I was really missing was very simply the knowledge that what I'm eating wasn't working for me, but no doctor was giving me that knowledge. So what we at Satvic movement believe, that many people are not able to have good health or are not able to live their optimum life of health and joy because they don't have the knowledge. So we feel it's our duty to give them that knowledge, and then it's that person's decision whether they can follow it, they can't follow it, how much they can follow today. So when I realized, wait, milk and milk products aren't working for me, that was the day I had the choice. Now, it was tough, yes, I had to change a lot, but now that I had that knowledge, I changed it and I saw results, and today I'm so grateful that I learned it. So when people don't know that if using a mobile late at night is causing a depletion in the quality of your sleep, people don't know that. So if we are not even going to share it, if we're not even going to say it, then those who can do it, those who want to make that extra effort, then how will they take that initiative? So we feel it's our duty, we should share it. We should not dilute the knowledge because it's not practical for everyone. Or we shouldn't feel, okay, we'll only share things that everyone can do, because then we'll be restricting ourselves to what people are willing to do.
Right.
So we feel our duty is to give the knowledge in its entirety. Of course, keeping in mind today's generation, keeping in mind the struggles people face, but not diluting it, keeping in mind that, okay, most people will find it difficult, so let's not even say it. Our duty is to say it and then let the person decide, and most people feel very grateful once they learn it. Some days they struggle, some days they are able to do it, but over a period of time, when people keep receiving this knowledge, we realize this phone, we are in control of the phone. Why is the phone in control of us?
Right.
Or the other example you gave of eating an early dinner.
Yeah.
If I did not even know that eating early is better for me, how would I have to speak to the person I work with, or speak to the person who's cooking for me, or whatever my struggles are.
But Harshvardhan, I feel like these things in time of social media, I come across at least 10 videos where people are talking about the same thing, that you should have an early dinner or you should not use your phone 2 hours before going to sleep. But I still feel like that, as you rightly mentioned, we all have a very sedentary lifestyle, and with the kind of working hours we have, with the kind of jobs we have, and this on-the-go lifestyle, don't you think at least for the youth, the younger generation, it is very difficult to adapt to these? I mean, even though they want to, but maybe their lifestyle, if you get off your job at, like, let's say 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, then even if you want to, you can't really implement. So what for them?
So you're very right in saying certain things are just not doable. So we have given alternatives where we say that if you can't eat early because of factors outside your control, so that even having the knowledge is not making a difference, then have certain things or avoid eating certain things which take a longer time to digest. Okay. So that's the sort of second best alternative. And the book is sort of, there's a advanced level and then there's a moderate level. So we do try and give those alternative solutions wherever it's practically possible. But I'll tell you what happens. Many people, once they realize that I want to eat at 7, they find solutions at their workplace to arrange a dinner. Sometimes that's not possible. Some people have gone to the extent of speaking to the HR or the people and saying, can I come early, start my day early, go home early so I can practice a healthier routine? So there are those people, maybe not common, but there are those people who make those adjustments. And they feel very happy because they're not compromising on their work, yet they're able to maintain a healthier lifestyle. And that's something that they can inspire others.
Right.
So we do try and stick to what we feel is appropriate, responsible for good health, giving the adjustments and the alternatives wherever we feel that is available.
Right. Yeah. Now, the Satvic Revolution is a branch of the Satvic movement. So, could you tell our audience, like, quickly about when did you start and what really? I mean, you have shared your journeys in the book. Like, how did you start eating healthy and how could you see the difference? But why did you two come together and decided that let's create this movement?
So both of us individually in our lives were suffering from a lot of health problems growing up. I had thyroid imbalance, I had PCOD, I had a lot of hair fall, I had acne, I had excess weight. Harsh, as he said, had sinusitis and psoriasis. Asthma. And we both hadn't met each other when this was happening. We were, this was the stage we were growing up. And we were taking a lot of pills. Harsh was taking a lot of antibiotics, nebulizers, all different kinds of things. And every time we would go back to the medical world, all that would happen is we would get one more pill added to our pill box or one more treatment added. And that led us to question that if we are following all the practices that the medical world is telling us, then when we are going back, why are we getting one more thing added to our routine? Shouldn't it be getting fixed? And that somewhere made us realize that, there has to be another way. Fortunately, in our lives, we came across some teachings through which we were able to discover this other way which was unknown to the world, which was not spoken about, not talked about. And this other way involved simply changing your food and your lifestyle. When we followed this, when we actually lived it in our lives, within for Harsh it was within days, for me it was within 3 to 4 months, every disease from our body disappeared. And that led to this realization that there is this precious hidden knowledge that is not accessible to society today, that is not accessible to the world. And because we benefited so much from it, we just thought that how can we just keep this to ourselves? How can we not share it? Because we used to see others suffering from the same exact problems that we suffered with.
Right.
So we felt it was our duty, it was right to share it with others. And when we saw others are also getting the same benefits that we got, that gave us even more conviction to keep walking on the path.
Okay. So which year did you exactly start the Satvic movement, with how many people? And today, how many people are associated with you?
18 years old at the time when she started making videos on YouTube, because that was the best way to get this message to more people. At that time, I was running health centers in Bombay because I thought that, a clinic approach will work better to share this knowledge. We met each other in 2019. We got married. 2020 is when lockdown happened. I had closed down the centers and both of us formally led Satvic movement together. 2020, there were 5 people in the team other than 2 of us. Today, we are a total of 35 full-time team members who are working day and night to help this knowledge reach more people through books, workshops, videos.
And do you have a community? And how many people are part of that community who are, following the Satvic Revolution or the Satvic movement?
So the online community, I don't know if community is the right word. The people who watch our online videos, let's put it like that, is around 9 million people as of now, including YouTube and Instagram, roughly. But I think a better way to define a community are those people who are doing workshops with us.
Right.
And these workshops range from 3 days long to 21 days long, online workshops. There are more than 5 lakh people who have done workshops with us online. So even though we have not met all of them face to face, we like to believe that this lifestyle has inspired them and they are practicing the Satvic way of living.
Right. So just one last question, and on that note, we'll conclude this interview. With this book, The Satvic Revolution, what message, if I ask you to just put it in 1 or 2 lines, what message are you trying to communicate, or what objective you're trying to achieve?
Today, India is competing with America to be the leading country in diabetes. I think this is not something we should be proud of as a nation, to be number 1 in the world for. Similarly for heart disease, similarly for other chronic lifestyle diseases. So our aim, goal, dream through this book is that people can truly take their health back in their hands where it belongs, not have to suffer through these diseases, and make our country healthy again, make ourselves healthy again, and truly reach our optimal health and operate at that level where we feel fulfilled deeply and happy, and not have to suffer, not have to pop pills all the time and be lethargic, tired.
So, not be a slave to anything, not be a slave to pills, not be a slave to the medical world. Just have independence within us, that we are our own healers.
Yeah. Right. So Subah and Harshvardhan, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you for watching, and follow for more.